Aloha from Hawaii again. I did an absolutely brilliant Facebook Live, even if I say so myself. Went back to my phone and discovered that after 5 minutes the internet had dropped and the feed had gone down, so you didn't get to see the final 15 minutes. And you know, this is an interesting thing. When you've made a commitment to do something, then you do whatever it takes to make sure that you deliver on what you've promised. So here again, once again, just like last week, is our Facebook, not live, Aloha from Hawaii. So what I was talking about, many of you saw the first 5 minutes, I think, and I'm going to upload this video as soon as I get back to the room, is I was going to talk about an NLP perspective on relationships. And also at the end, give you a little bit of a nugget, if you like, a little bit of a gem from Huna. So here's a flip chart that I prepared earlier, so that you know that we actually were going live, even though it wasn't broadcast anywhere. And there are a number of things that we can look at in relationships as far as how do we make a relationship work. The first is these things called anchors, then strategies, then values, then from a Huna perspective, energy. So let's talk about anchors first. So I think most people are aware of Pavlov's dogs, and the idea where, you know, he had a dog, he gave the dog a steak, he rang a tuning fork, and did it a number of times, and what happened was the sound of the tuning fork and the state of salivation got anchored together in the person's neurology. So then, in the dog's neurology rather, and so then when he rang the tuning fork, didn't give the dog a steak, it still salivated. Our neurology is exactly the same as that of a dog's. It works the same way. The whole idea of stimulus response patterns. So what happens is we're in a particular state, and our unconscious mind, our neurology, scans through all of our senses to find something unique, something that's causing this particular state. But it doesn't work by any rhyme or reason or logic or rationality. It just links the two things together. This is how we could explain the hour song phenomena, for instance. A particular song comes on, a particular piece of music comes on, and as soon as that music comes on, our memories come up from the past, maybe the distant past, and the emotions, maybe a person comes to mind. We get the same thing with the smell of a perfume or the smell of an aftershave. Again, we smell the smell and bam, up comes the memory, the person with all of the emotions that we have related to them. Now, particularly in relationships, what can tend to happen is inadvertently we can create negative anchors. And negative anchors work this way. So you've had an absolutely dreadful day, terrible day, and you've got that bad day feeling, that bad day state. You do whatever you can to get out of that state. And you walk through the front door when you get home, and whether your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend have been trained in NLP or not, they do an absolutely perfect state elicitation, and they say, "How was your day, dear?" You go straight back into the bad day feeling, the bad day state once again. And you're looking at them, you're hearing their voice, and maybe they're touching you. Imagine how many times something like that could happen over the years in a relationship. That creates what we call in NLP a stacked anchor. And what we do is we get all of those bad day feelings stacked on top of each other. So eventually over the years, when we look at our partner, we hear their voice, they touch us, we just feel bad, but we don't know why. And because we don't understand anchoring, we think it's them. So therefore that could go, I don't want to be around here anymore, this person just makes me feel bad, but in actual fact it's just an anchor. Now of course, in relationships, is our partner going to have a bad day? Yeah. Yes, most definitely. It's just one of those things. Are we saying, therefore, that if they come home and they're in a bad mood, we go, okay, I'm not going to touch you until you've got yourself sorted out and you get yourself in a better state? No, I don't think that would really work very well. But the thing to do is, you know, if they're feeling bad, then they might just want to hug. So you hug them, but you remember where you touched them. So then when they're feeling in a good state again, you hug them again with your hands in exactly the same place. That will have collapsed the negative anchor that you created. This means that in actual fact, not only can we avoid creating negative anchors in relationships, we can actually create stacked positive anchors in relationships. So the longer we're with someone, the better we feel around them. And there's more information about that in the I Am David Shepherd app. I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video. As far as how do we go about what we call collapsing negative anchors, and how do we go about creating positive anchors. Then we have strategies. We have strategies for everything. Everything we do with an unconscious strategy. And there are three important ones in relationships. There's the attraction strategy, the recognizing attraction strategy, and the deep love strategy. The attraction strategy is basically, how do we know that somebody is attractive? The question to ask to discover this is, how do you know someone's attractive? And it'll be a certain order and sequence of what we call an NLP internal representation. It'll be something you see, something you hear, something you say to yourself, a touch, or an emotion inside that lets you know that somebody is attractive. Then we have our recognizing attraction strategy. How do you know that somebody finds you attractive? And again, it will be an order and sequence of something you see, something you hear, something you feel externally, or something you feel internally. And then the deep love strategy is very simple because it's only got one step in it. So I can actually take you through this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to, just for a second, just make sure that this video is still recording so I don't do another 20 minutes and find that it's gone absolutely nowhere. Yep, we're still live. Well, we're not live, we're recording. So let me tell you about the deep love strategy. So the deep love strategy, this is a question you ask. How do you know that someone deeply loves you? Do they need to look at you in a particular way, speak to you in a particular way with certain words, or touch you in a particular way or place? And it's one of those. So it's the, do you need to be taken places, looked at in a particular way, be bought things, or do you need to hear certain words or a certain tone of voice, or do you need to be touched in a certain place or a certain way? Now, a lot of people go like, well, I like all of those. Yeah, but that's not really the answer to the question. Which one of those is absolutely necessary? So which one of those three things, if it were missing, would cause you to have doubts? Now, when we first get together, we do everything. We take each other to places, we look at each other in a particular way, we speak to each other in a particular way, we touch each other, etc., etc., etc. No matter what the person's strategies are, they'll be satisfied. But as the relationship goes on, as it matures, what we unconsciously do is we assume that our partner's strategies are the same as ours. And the chances of that happening are pretty slim. So even though we want to be attractive for a partner, we want our partner to know that we find them attractive and that we deeply love them, the strategies just don't line up. So what we wind up with is, in a relationship as it matures, is our partner no longer finds us attractive, they don't think we find them attractive, and they don't think that we deeply love them. Not a great way to actually continue a long-term relationship. So the thing to do in relationships is to find out what your strategies are and what your partner's strategies are. Questions are simple. How do you know somebody's attractive? How do you know somebody else finds you attractive? And how do you know you're deeply loved? And then commit to actually satisfy each other's strategies. Very simple process. Again, on the NLP Practitioner Home Study Program, there is more information about that and specifically how they work in relationships. Then we have values. I talked about values in a previous Facebook Live, the one titled How to Double Your Sales by Asking 3 More Questions. The process is the same for listing the values, except what we're doing now is we are doing relationship values. So what we're going to ask is, what's important to you about your relationship? And you'll get 4 or 5 words come out, and we put them into an order of importance. And that is the person's relationship values, what motivates them in a relationship, and also what has them be satisfied in the relationship. Going beyond what we talked about in the How to Double Your Sales by Asking 3 More Questions, for each of the values, we can ask some further questions. So for instance, let's say that we have a value of love. Now, so I've got love in my values, my partner's got love in her values, but love means something different to everybody. If we had 10 people in a room, we said, what does love mean? We'd probably get 10 different answers. So what we want to know is, okay, we've got love in the values, but then, what does love mean to that particular person? Yeah. Also, how do they know that they've got it? It's what we call our evidence criteria as far as that's concerned in our relationships. So we ask the question, how do you know you have love? And we'll get an answer from our partner. So here's the thing to do as far as that's concerned. Again, once we know this information, is to commit to each other that we'll do whatever it takes to satisfy each other's values, and also that we will do whatever it takes as far as satisfying these things. That means that we will continue to be motivated and we'll continue to be satisfied in our relationship. Again, there's more information about that in the personality matrix in the I'm David Shepherd app. In fact, there's a video demonstration of me eliciting someone's relationship value, so you'll see exactly the process to do it. Here's another little piece on values though in relationships, because the values in a relationship can change. So what I've noticed with some people, some clients, is that they have different values for boyfriend-girlfriend relationship than they have for committed relationship or marriage. What that can cause is that as soon as they make a commitment, like they get engaged, or they say I do, and get married, a completely different set of values can click in that instance. How many times have you heard people say, they're just not the person I thought I was marrying? Could that be the reason why? Also, quite often what you've got is when the couple had their first child, another set of values can kick in called family, which could be different than boyfriend-girlfriend values, marriage values, family values, which can cause real conflict and confusion in a relationship. Also, what happens when the children fly the nest and it goes back to just being the couple again? What that can cause is, the family values have kicked in, the children have gone, now there's no reason for the couple to stay together. So these are also important things to realize in relationships if we're going to create fulfilling long-term relationships. So then if we now go to Huna, a little gem from a Huna perspective for you, and the idea of energy in relationships. So I think we've all worked out that men and women are different, and they're certainly different from an energetic point of view. You might have heard, if you've studied any kind of spirituality or anything like that, of the 5 elements: spirit, fire, earth, water, and air. And men and women are constructed differently from an elemental point of view. What we have here is, here's the male, and men are fire in the genitals and water in the head, which most women will agree with. And women are fire in the head and water in the genitals, which most men will agree with. But you'll notice there's a positive and negative pole. It's almost like they've got this polarity. That's what creates the energetic attraction in the first place. And the thing that can happen in relationships is that the polarity collapses, the fire decreases. But even though people don't understand elements, or even know that they exist, it comes out in our language, say, so how's the relationship going? How's the marriage going? And the person says, well, it's good. The honeymoon period's over. We all know what that means. And then they might go, it's almost like the fire's gone out. There's no spark there. That's this. And the polarity collapses, and they no longer feel this magnetic attraction that they once had. So in our Huna trainings, we actually teach you how to not only maintain the fire in the polarity, but how to increase the fire in the polarity, which means rather than what most people experience, that the polarity decreases and the attraction decreases, that over time the polarity actually increases, and therefore the magnetic attraction between the two people actually increases over time rather than decreasing. So let's actually look at this as an overview. So imagine this. Imagine being in a relationship where there are no negative anchors. In fact, there are positive anchors. When we're around the person, we just feel good. We have our strategies satisfied. We know We find our partner attractive, we know they find us attractive, and we know that they deeply love us. Our values are satisfied. We're motivated in the relationship. We're satisfied in the relationship. And we have energy, the spark, the fire, the passion, the attraction is there from an energetic point of view. That is totally possible by applying the things that I've covered in this video today, our Facebook non-live Aloha from Hawaii. So I mentioned the app to you. Let me just give you some information before we leave. If you go to davidshepard.com, HARD.com, then for more information on anchoring and strategies and relationships in general, look at the NLP Practitioner Home Study Program. For values, that's in the Personality Matrix program. It's in the app. And from a Huna perspective, there's an introduction to the Wizard's Secret, which will tell you more. There's also an absolutely phenomenal process I learned when I was out here called Ho'oponopono. They're all there in the app. Just go to davidshepard.com. You get it for free for an entire month to test out the material, and then it's just £6.99 from there on in, with new material released every month. So thanks for joining me here in Hawaii. Next week's Facebook Live will actually be live because I'll be back in our office in West London in Twickenham. So wherever you are in the world, hope you have a great morning, a great day, or a great evening. And aloha from Hawaii.